Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Silhouette of a Queen. Listen, I want to tell you guys, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021. And this is the first segment of Silhouette of a Queen for 2021. So I just want to thank you all for coming in tonight. You guys already know what to do. Go ahead and share, like, share, and subscribe. And tell your sister friends, your aunt, your mother, go ahead and share this on your wall and on your page because, you know, it is my intent every time I come on here is to be able to share content with you that is going to cause, to have you shift in some aspect of your life, whether I just leave like a nugget or what I like to call steak bites. Steak bites are what you have to chew on for a little bit. It's kind of weighty, it's kind of heavy, but it's necessary and needed for our growth. So it is my intention that I share something with you today and on every Silhouette of a Queen segment that causes your life to shift in another dimension. So thank you so much for coming in. My name is Tiffany Devon. And I am a certified life coach. I am a wardrobe stylist, and I style leaders and influencers in fearless fashions. And I am also the founder of Silhouette of a Queen. I started Silhouette of a Queen in 2020, actually. And it was just birthed out of just this urgency that God had placed in my heart about teaching his daughters and his women, no matter what age you are, that we are all queens in his eyes. But sometimes we go through life, and life just kind of kicks dust in our eyes, and sometimes we forget who we really are. But we are still treasure. We are still valuable. We are still fit. And it doesn't matter what you've gone through. God sees you, He hears you, and it doesn't matter. You can always have a shift and a change in your life. So let me talk to you a little bit about what Silhouette of a Queen is. It's for a powerful and resilient woman who has yet to be seen, felt, or heard. And so when you think of a silhouette is usually like an image or contour of a shape of something that is still yet becoming. And it doesn't matter where you find yourself in life, that whether you are emerging, aspiring, or established, whatever you are, no matter how long you've been walking with God, there is always levels. The Bible always says we go from glory to glory. Well, there's levels. And so there are levels that you can go into and God, and we must not ever feel like, okay, because I've earned my crown. I know who I am. I'm confident. I'm intelligent. I got it going on. Like that's it. No, there is always another level. There is always things that God is taking us through to humble us, so that we don't reach a place of feeling like we've arrived, we made it, because that sets up room and a space for arrogance and superiority. And so I have found that in my journey of teaching and impacting women, a lot of people look up to me for different things. But let me tell you, I said it in a video earlier this week, actually, that a lot of times what coaches and mentors and teachers do not tell you is that the student sharpens the teacher, because it is the student and their curiosity and the questions that they ask keeps the teacher on their toes. You make the teacher go back and study their information. You make them say, no one's ever asked me that before. It makes you go and dig a little deep. So I want to always challenge you that no matter who you are, where you are in life, we should always be okay with being a student. So I am a student of life. I learn from everybody. God speaks through any and everybody. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So let's go ahead and get started tonight and talk about, what a crown represents. A crown is a level of maturity and responsibility. When God crowns you, He is trusting you with an assignment on your life. And in this season, we can't afford to be raggedy. We can't afford to be mediocre. We can't afford to continue to do things as usual, the way that it's always been done. And I want to say this. Yesterday, I was highly considering postponing Silhouette of a Queen, and I'll tell you why. Because as I watched what happened in our nation yesterday with the stampede, you might as well just call it that, stampede storming, people storming the Capitol yesterday. I was highly grieved to the point of tears because, and my soul just cried out, and I had to take my anguish to God because I had felt just this level of pain that I had not felt before of what's going on in the world. Because I said to God, I said, when will the masses begin to see that there is always a different narrative that gets painted when you are a person of color? And I think a lot of times what happens when we are people of faith, a lot of times we tend to want to skate over things and we want to sing kumbaya messages because those kinds of messages keep us from actually going deep and really addressing the issues that we have in our day. And I used to be one of those people. I'll just be like, no, I don't really want to touch that because it's controversial. I don't want people leaving negative comments on my page and whatnot. But if you're going to be a change agent, if you're going to be a person that God uses to speak truth, you're going to disrupt people. You're going to not always be like, I don't care what good you do in the world. Like someone is always going to find fault at what you're doing. And so I was highly grieved, um, to the point of tears and just really asking God like, what's happening, what's going on. He just led me into a place of prayer. But what I can tell you, and things are still being unveiled to me about what is happening, but I can tell you it's bigger than politics. Okay. It is definitely bigger than politics. What we see going on in our world today is a level of ugly that has always been there that we never wanted to confront. We wanted to say, well, yeah, but no, we can no longer continue to put our head in the sand. And your role may not be necessarily to address the things that's in politics or whatnot, but you do have a responsibility to speak for truth, whatever that is and whatever that looks like. So I charge you today, if you are watching this segment and you are watching this live, that you have a responsibility. I have a responsibility. We have a responsibility as queens, as daughters, to be able to speak a word of enlightenment, encouragement, one that will bring deliverance, one that will bring healing. And it is our voices that can shift the nation. So do not be afraid to use your power. In fact, begin to ask God how you can be the change in the world that we so desperately need. Okay. So I want to just talk to you tonight about vision, reimagine you. And I made a few notes here. So I want to make sure that I cover everything. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And that's from Proverbs 29, verse 8. Look down the word perish. Perish doesn't always necessarily mean a physical death, although that could be the case. But perish also means to slowly die, to wither away. When there is no vision, when you lose hope, that's when depression begins to set in. That's when you start to be able to say things like, I just can't wait to just cross on over to glory. I've heard women say that, I just can't wait to cross on over to glory. That is not the mindset that God calls us to have. He wants us to have the mindset to occupy until he calls us home. We don't sit on the sidelines of life and say, I'm just waiting. In fact, let me tell you where God uses you the most. This is what he shared with me today as I was preparing for Silhouette of a Queen, because like I said, I was highly considering postponing this. And every time that God has used me to teach and to be effective, it's always feels like it comes through some level of where I'm being attacked emotionally. I don't feel like doing it. This is not the right time. This is not the right moment. I'm all over the place. I'm boo-hooing. And you want me to get up in front of the people and teach, they're gonna see that I'm just a basket case. But let me tell you something. What God has shown to me is that he is so faithful that he doesn't want me to stand in my own strength. He doesn't. He wants me to stand in his strength. And right now, I know some of you are going through a very, very tough season. But let me tell you something because I want you to be encouraged. Is that I want you to know that in your toughest season is where you will see God move the most. It's when he will start giving you ideas, because the reason why is he doesn't want you to get stuck in your pain, because the moment you get stuck in your pain, the moment that you cannot fulfill the vision, and there's a vision over your life. And so I just want to be able to share that with you. So before I get to the vision part of tonight's segment, I'll first want to lay the groundwork of time. And I want to share this quote with you from Helen Keller. Actually, I'm sorry, that'll come later. This quote is, "To be early is on time. To be on time is to be late. To be late is to be forgotten." Now let me share something with you. I used to be a person that was chronically late at everything I went to. It didn't matter where I was going, I was late. I was known to always show up 30, 45 minutes, an hour late. Unless it was my job, then I was like 10 minutes late or something like that. But nevertheless, I was late. And I can attribute that to my late mother. It was something that I learned from her. And I remember growing up, when people would have different events, whether it would be, like a little house party or whatnot, she would always tell us, you don't want to be the first person at somebody's house. You don't want to be you showing up if an event started at 6. She would always say, you don't want to be the first one there. Show up at least 30 minutes late. You just don't want to seem eager. And so that's what I did. And I wouldn't begin to look at this a little different until I got much older, and I started seeing people who actually valued time. And when you showed up late, that was actually like a no-no for them. And the first person that I came across that really showed me the essence of time was my first mentor, who helped me with the publishing process of my book. And I'll never forget, I went over to her house because this was my first business meeting with her, right? And like I already told you, I was already chronically late to everything I went to. So naturally, I showed up late. And I'll never forget this. She opened the door and she said, "You're late." She said, "You were supposed to be here at this time." And she said, "The one thing that um, I don't do is I don't deal with tardiness, because time is something that I can't never get back." And I was just like, whoa. Because I had never met anyone who was so bold in their delivery, in their stance. Because typically, when you are late to something, most people don't even say anything about it. They're just, what people will do when you were chronically late? They will talk about you behind your back. They don't call you out on it. But this time, she actually called me out on it. And I learned a very valuable lesson that day. I learned that if I was going to be working with her and be in a relationship with her as far as business, then I needed to be on time. And that I did. I was not late, no more after that. And if I found myself that I was going to be like 2 to 5 minutes late with working with her, I would text her or let her know, hey, I'm going to be running behind just a little bit, but I'm on my way. And she respected that. And what I can tell you is this is when God is wanting to sharpen you in an attribute in your life, he will oftentimes do it through people. And he will put people before you that have certain attributes so that you can glean and be sharpened in that area from them. So it was not no mistake that my second mentor was another person who was timely. And I remember her sharing with me that she would get to work an hour before her shift started. And I used to think, okay, like I was like, I don't know if I can do that. So, but anything, she said, I always get to my job an hour before. If she's having to go to an event, she always got to an hour before. And it was again through that relationship with her that I started learning how to be on time. And I would do that with going to a church because I attend a mega church here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. And one of the things that I learned very early about attending this mega church, when it would start at 8 o'clock in the morning, at that time we had services at 8. And when I walked in the door at 8:15 and the praise singers was up singing and everybody were in their seats and I'm in there in the dark trying to scoot and find a seat, I didn't like that. I said, okay, like this is not going to work. So I started making a habit of trying to get there over time. And over a period of time, it went from getting there 15 minutes early to 30 minutes early to then I started showing up there an hour early. And at this point where I was no longer sitting by my mentor, the first thing in my mind was, oh, I could go back to doing and getting there 15 minutes. And God immediately corrected me and said, this is a habit that you created. Don't break it. I need you to stay consistent. Because when you are consistent, people can trust you. And this was an attribute that God was setting me up for that I was going to need in order to continue to lead people. And I was also convicted when one of my friends said to me, I would have never thought you would be late because I would be on time for church, but then I would be late for work. And when she said that to me, I noticed that there were inconsistencies in my life. And God began challenging me and saying, I need you to be consistent. I need you to be the same person that gets to church on time. I need you to get to work on time. So I started working on that. And so in everything that I do now, I make sure that I show up on time because consistency, like I said, breeds trust. When people don't trust you, they don't feel like they can do business with you, they can do life with you, they can be any kind of relationship with you because they know you don't value time. And sometimes time can make you lose money. So one of the things that I'm gonna tell you a little tip that helped me to start breaking that habit of not being on time. When I know that something is going to say start, let's say like around 6 p.m., right? At 4:30, I'm not jumping in the shower and I'm not picking out clothes because that's too late. Because I'm calculating that it's at least going to take me 30 minutes to get to that space, right? So this event starts, let's say at 6 o'clock. I got to leave my house at 5 and it's 5:30. I'm already saying that's too late because I haven't factored in traffic. What if there's an accident? So I tell myself I'm going to leave the house at 5:15 just so I can have a 15-minute time buffer to get there, which means that I know how long it takes. I've already laid out my clothes. So I know for myself, I'm going to start getting dressed at 4 o'clock. I'm going to have my makeup on and all of that. So that way I can be out the door. Because these things are following your name. And as a queen, like I said, we can't be mediocre. We have to show up with our game faces on. So, what does this have to do with vision? It has a lot to do with vision, because if you're going to become a woman of excellence, well, you're already a woman of excellence. Let me just say that. You're already a woman of excellence. So let me reframe that. We are fine tuning, because there's, like I said to you at the top of this, there's always another level. There's always opportunities for growth. There's always opportunities to be sharpened. So let's go into talking about vision, because I'm going to wrap up how time and consistency, how it is connected to vision. So this was the quote that I was trying to tell you about earlier, about Helen Keller said, "The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision." I think a lot of times, especially, it's January, the top of the year, a lot of people start making New Year's resolutions. One of the most popular things that people want to say is, or do, is lose weight. Everybody wants to lose weight. Gym memberships go up in January. The gyms are full in January. Well, maybe right now, not now, because Rona is roaming. But we're deciding to take our health a little bit better. So we eat cleaner, we eat differently. Some of us are doing fasts, and whatnot. But part of having a vision is, it's more than just setting an intention or a goal. It's about asking yourself, what do I have to be, who do I have to become in order to become this person? Because a lot of times when God is shifting us, he is doing it in such a way where we have to give up something. It's a sacrifice to become a, a better version of ourselves, because we may have to give up being chronically late. If you want to be this leading woman, or continue to be this leading woman, and you want to get promoted, maybe within your job or wherever the case may be, there are sacrifices that you have to make, and you have to count the cost up. How bad do you want it? Do you want to be the person that continues to be late and then be frustrated when you get overlooked, and and people may not trust you because you're not consistent, you know? So you have to ask yourself, who do I have what do I have to give up in order to become this person? So I want to do a little exercise for you with you. I want you to do one thing. Now, if you're driving, you can't do this. I need you to keep your hands on the wheel. Okay. But if you can, and if you're a multitasker, you're probably gonna have to stop what you're doing, because okay. Anyway, you're gonna have to stop what you're doing, because this is going to I'm going to do a deep breathing exercise. What I want you to do is to close your eyes, okay? Go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you to take a deep breath in, okay? Keep your eyes closed, hold it, then slowly let it go, okay? I'm gonna do this again. Deep inhale, hold it, let it go slowly. I want you to feel how you were releasing today's anxieties from within your body. Okay, deep breath in, hold it, exhale slowly, keep your eyes closed. And I want you to close as your eyes are closed. I want you to remember who you were before life happened. You may have to go back to that time when you were 5 years old. You may have to go back to that time when you were 10, 15, 20. Go back to that time that you were this person before life happened. Who were you? Who were you before life happened? Were you kind? Were you happy? Were you free? Were you trusting? Keep your eyes closed. The reason why I want you to think about this, because this is who you were in your truest state before life happened, before the first heartbreak, before someone betrayed you, before they lied on you, before the abuse happened. This was you. And sometimes life happens and people will tell us things that try to rob us of who we are. They'll say things like, you're too nice, you're too kind, you're too naive, you need to toughen up. You need to toughen up. This world is tough. You can't let them see you sweat. You can't let them see you cry. You're a crybaby. You're a crybaby. Nobody wants to be a crybaby. You're too sensitive. Now I want you to open your eyes. What what stopped you from being this person? Was it any of the things that I mentioned? Because in order to attain a vision, you have to go back to the foundation. You have to go back to that foundation of that little girl. That little girl, go back and grab her, go back and heal her, because that's who you are. Because in order to continue ascending in this time and in this season that we're in, you're going to have to go back and heal her. Because the things that people say to you that pierce, whether it's in a joke, whether they wanted to jab you, it may not necessarily be them. It could be that there was a wound there. And a lot of times, what that will show up as, it will show up as bitterness. It will come out in sarcastic comments. It will come across in many, 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 many different ways. And in order to attain the vision that God has for you, you're going to have to do this process. And it's not always easy, but it's attainable. And so I want to ask you that, because let's say your vision, because sometimes we have a vision of losing 10 pounds, 15 pounds, or whatever. But why? Why do you want to lose it? Why? You have to ask yourself a deeper question of why. Did you eat yourself to this place because you were lonely? Um, because these emotional issues sometimes show up in different ways. I know for a lot of times, as women of faith, I've heard women say, I just want to be free. Well, what does that look like? What does freedom look like for you? I can tell you what it looks like for me, and I'll use myself as the guinea pig, okay? And in hopes that this will help jumpstart your process. For me, freedom looks a lot like being able to walk into a room and be myself wholeheartedly. I often have like a very brash, dark sense of humor. And sometimes I feel like I've had to hide that side of myself because I felt like people would judge me. I felt like people, they wouldn't get it, or whatever the case may be. That's freedom to me. Freedom also looks a lot like being able to express myself in a way, even if I'm having a sensitive moment, being able to be vulnerable to say, I don't have it together today. I'm sad. That's what freedom looks like to me. Because there was a point in my life where I would have just smiled through the pain and nobody would have never known that I was actually breaking on the inside because I wasn't strong enough and courageous enough to really express my emotions. And so that's what freedom looks like to me. Freedom also looks like being able to dress the way that I want to dress and go into certain settings knowing that I may be received, they may reject me. I don't know. But that freedom comes to me in those ways. Another thing that if you want to continue to walk in freedom, this is the part that we don't always get to hear. Um, but if you want to be free, you're going to have to confront tough issues. You're going to have to stop snapping at people. You're going to have to stop using this armor superwoman mentality because there's something underneath all of that. You're going to have to get comfortable with having difficult conversations, even with yourself. If there's one thing that this pandemic has taught me, it has slowed the world down so much in such a way that now we have no choice but to look at all of the ugly that has been on the surface for a very long time. And I used to ask myself, because I consider myself to be very attuned to things spiritually, but there were certain things that I just could not see because life was happening, life was moving, life was going. It was like, and so when you went from this to like, you're like, oh, I noticed that. I noticed this. I noticed that. I noticed this. I noticed that, which is why people are uncomfortable because they don't want to have to see the stuff that they were able to skate over. Let me tell you something. This work is not easy. I love Iyanla Vanzant because she's no nonsense, but some although I don't always agree with her approach to certain things certain times, but she's on point with a lot of things what she says spiritually. And one of the things that she always says at the top of her show is, there's going to come a point in the show where you're not going to like me. It is so true. And you know why? Because when you are used to thinking that you have all your ish together and somebody comes along and starts poking holes and poking cracks at that thing, and you trying to keep it together, you want to make it look like it's together. Oh, that ego is going to get pissed. Ego going to get pissed because it's going to say, how dare you call me out like that? How dare you try to point that out? How dare you? I'm trying to keep this up so don't nobody see all of this. What you? And when you are a woman of influence and you're a pillar, you can't be vulnerable before everybody. You just can't. I get it. But for the people that are sent to see you, let them see you. Let them see you. Let them see that you don't always have all of the answers. None of us do. None of us do. So part of walking in freedom is to do some tough things so that you can start gaining ground and so that you can start taking back land and things that in your life that you've ignored. Start start this journey today. That's what I'm going to talk about. That's what I've been sharing with you this evening about vision. Is reclaiming your life. Reimagine you. Reimagine you means going back to that little girl. Every one of us on this call, conference, video, whatever you want to call it, every one of us has a little girl in us. Every one of us has a little girl. I have a little girl in me. The little girl in me wants, I don't care how much crowns God puts on me. I don't care how much accolades and titles you put behind my name. The little girl in me is always going to want to be able to find a safe place to not be a queen all the time. That's part of that vulnerability. So before I close tonight, because we are creators, just like our Father God, and we are co-creators. I often say that God is the creator, we are the co-creator, and we get to partner with God, and we get to create what he wants to see fulfilled in the earth. And so part of that is seeing the end from the beginning. This is why I asked you to close your eyes and see yourself and reimagine. I was having you to go back and reimagine yourself. Who were you before all of this happened, before life happened, before all of that? Because that's who you are at your truest state. And you need to go back in and go within and with God's help and heal that little girl in you. And as you begin to heal that little girl within you, then and only then will you be able to really go after and fulfill the vision and fulfill the call that he has for your life. Here's a little mini assignment that you all have. It's a very powerful assignment. I've actually have done this myself. I want you to take your little smartphone. All of us have them. All of us have a smartphone. And I want you to record yourself. Affirmations, however you want to say it, however you want to do it. Some of you may need warfare tactics. I've done that before too. Because when I was in a time and season of my life when I was in a warfare mental fight, I had to record affirmations. I had to speak to myself like you're a champion. Like I had to go in with a warrior's mentality and I had to record myself and I would play it back to myself. I would listen to myself, whether I'm driving, whether I'm walking, whatever the case may be, because you are the most important person that speaks to you all day long. Make sure it's something of substance. So that's when you may need to record a scripture. You may just need to say, "Girl, you cute today." I don't know what you need to say to yourself. "Girl, you fine today." I don't know what you need to say. "Girl, you know you courageous. Girl, you know you got this. You can have this tough conversation. I know it's tough, but you can do this." You want to know why you can do this? Because God is with you. And because God is with you, he's going to give you the words to know what to say. You can record whatever you want and just play this back to yourself and listen to it daily. That's your assignment. Go ahead and reimagine yourself because you have work to do and you must push past the pain. Let God do his work because he's working. And while the world is in this chaos form and doing what it's doing, it's supposed to be doing all of that. But he's got you hidden and he's got you covered and he's got you protected at this particular time in history because you are valuable. I don't care if you're 22. I don't care if you're 35. I don't care if you're 61. I don't care how old you are. If you are still breathing and you can hear my voice, You are of value. And so he had me to create this message because at first I was just going to talk about vision and let's talk about accomplishing some goals. And he said, nope, I want you to do it a little different. I want you to put a little twist on it. And then yesterday happened, and I was just like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this today. So that is your assignment that you have tonight. And please feel free to send me a private message after you completed recording your affirmations. Let me know how it's blessing your life. I know it's going to bless your life. It blessed mine. And when I shared it with a friend, she was like, this is so powerful. So it has been a pleasure talking to you guys tonight. And again, you know what to do. For those of you that are watching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. And again, my name is Tiffany Devon. I am a certified coach. I am a wardrobe stylist, and I style leaders and influencers in fearless fashions. I am the founder of Silhouette of a Queen, for a powerful and resilient woman who is yet to be seen, felt, and heard. And the world is ready for you. We are waiting for you, and you are just being incubated right now. But oh, when God continues to pull back the cover, He's going to let everyone see what you've been doing in private. He's going to let some of you have books in you, songs in you, movies in you. Some of you are going to be called to be speaking in front of people. You're going to be dancing in front of people. You're going to be doing things that you didn't even think you could do at your age. You're going to say, well, I thought I should have did that in my 30s. Like, what's happening? He is reviving you. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And I am going to go ahead and end it. If you know what to do. If you have any questions, comments, drop them in the comments section. I'll reply back below. Or if you want to just private message me, go ahead and do that. Again, you can find me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Talk to you soon.